Yeah, hello and welcome back to ConWorxx IV, Spielworks' own friendly, small, cozy online gaming convention. My name is Uli Blennemann. As usual, if you have a question, if you have a comment, please put it into the chat window. And we are now live at an airport, I guess in Florida, to talk to the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Warner-Core. Thank you so much for your time while you're traveling, Stephen. How are you?
Doing great, Uli. Let me tell you something. There's less than a dozen people. No, there's less than a handful of people that I would have done this for. I love publicity. I love being online, but I really love you, Uli.
Thank you so much.
I'm literally sitting. I'm in the United Airlines Club Lounge in a phone booth. They have like one phone booth. This isn't even a big one of their big clubs because Fort Lauderdale is not one of their hubs. I'm sitting here. I got 30 minutes. I got here a few minutes ago. I got here, and then once this is over, pack up. Paula is out there waiting. Gonna get up and go and board the plane. Our plane goes from here in Fort Lauderdale. We travel to Washington, Dulles,
Okay.
and then from Dulles to Munich, Germany, to go to the Oktoberfest the last 3 days. I know how much you love crowds and how much you would love to be at Oktoberfest with me, but I know you can't because you run your own company.
Yeah. Right. So for me, Oktoberfest is not an attraction as you hinted it, but I think you'll enjoy it. And thank you so much for your time, for your kind words. And Karthik is saying hello. Hans Harlema is saying hello to you. But you are coming. Yeah, you're coming from your home. I know this, but you were somewhere else before you traveled back. So what did you do recently?
Right. So for the last week, minus one day, I was at the World Series of Board Gaming. So if anybody doesn't know about this, this is a fairly new event. 2 years now that they have run this World Series of Board Gaming, where the goal is to crown the world champion of board gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, big deal. The person who gets crowned the world champion gets $25,000. This is the second year it's run, and we crowned Angela Tao from Canada via China, and she won the whole thing. She gets this huge bracelet like the World Series of Poker, and a ring. The ring was for winning one of what we call the ring events that get you to the semifinals, to get you to the finals, and she wins the $25,000. It was an amazing event, and it still is. I've been there both years. It's run so professionally, so well. After the first year I went, I was the guest of honor. Very nice. They invited me. Do you want to come? I'm like, absolutely. You call me the guest of honor and you fly me in, I'll be happy to do that. And they did. After that event ran so well, they asked me to be on their board of directors. And I am now on the board of directors for the World Series of Board Gaming. And in fact, they did a capital raise, so I'm now an investor and I'm on the board of directors. So I would just ask anybody out there, and obviously international, we had a tremendous amount of people who were not Native American born people there too. The 2022 winner was born in Singapore, now lives in the US, Hans Lee. So this really is an international thing. The entire world is involved. There's 700. The first year was like 300. Now we had 700. And going forward, next year, we think we're going to have 2,000 people vie for the title. Plus, and it's not just these 16 tournaments to win. We have outer ring events where you can win small tournaments for small prizes. And then there's like world championships that publishers set up and give away huge prizes. The DeVere, it was either DeVere, I'll tell you the two. DeVere did their Red Cathedral World Championship, and Roxley Games did their World Champions for Dice Throne. I believe the prize for DeVere was a trip to Essen next year.
Wow,
so there's a lot of stuff on the line here, but the sportsmanship is great. It's just a lot of fun. Last word I'll say, if you think any of this sounds like fun, and it is. Oh, we have nighttime events too. if any of this sounds like it's going to be fun and hanging out with me in Las Vegas, I'm telling you, it's fun. Uli can tell you.
It is fun.
Just go to WSBGVegas.com, WSBGVegas.com, and check it out. You'll see all about what we do there. So let's get on to ConWorxx and Spielworxx.
No. I think this is tremendously interesting, and for some people, or if for Europeans here, yeah, it's a long distance trip. But if you have never been to Vegas, you can of course combine it and see it. Yeah, it is. Let's put it this way: Las Vegas is interesting. It is interesting. And if you have a chance to see it at least once, yeah, go for it. Definitely go for it. And if it's then combined with this event, yeah, I think it's a great thing.
And there's a mix of games that are played, like in the 16 games, from as light as Patchwork and Ticket to Ride to as heavy as Gaia Project and Great Western Trail. The winners at the final table, 4 people who then went to the semifinal, and finally they played Splendor. Splendor, a light game, but they knew it would be one of these 16, but not one that they had already played in. That's kind of the rules. They do this random draw and stuff, and they played Splendor for $25,000. Uli, I challenge you. Let's play Splendor. $25,000. What do you think?
If I do not have to enter the 25,000, yes, I'm in. But because I'm not a good games player, so I'm pretty much so I'm not for tournaments. But I also appreciated that you can do other things at the same time. So play more casually or enjoy Vegas. So I think it's a win-win situation. So excellent, and You are now moving to Munich, to Oktoberfest, downing 300 liters of beer, and from there you are going to Essen, to Spiel, of course. And but I'd love to talk to you about your first Essen now. So when was your first Essen, and how was it for you at that time?
Yeah, it couldn't be different, than it is certainly going to be now when I'm not working, or when I was working, which I have been for many, many years during that. But the first one was truly like, wow, what is going on here? So this was in 2010, and Stronghold Games, right? I was the founder. Most people should know this. The founder, the owner, and the president for almost that entire period of time. We went there with our one game that was officially in print already, which was a reprint, Code 777, classic deduction game. And we went there with that and Survive, Escape from Atlantis, right? The classic game for families of escaping an island that's sinking. And we had like the prototype, we had some pre-production copies of Confusion as well. So we went there with those games. We sold out of everything because you never can figure out what it's going to be. The Spiel at that time was very different itself, being much, much, much smaller than it is now. Still huge, still probably the size of the Origins and the UKGE are right now. I'm taking a guess at this, like maybe 30,000 people back then. Now you're over 100,000 people, and it's just amazing. But we were back then in that first year, we were all the way in the back, sort of at the back of the American Hall, which is like Hall 9. They renumbered all the halls, so people who go now won't, unless you've been back there. The big companies were used to be in 10, 11, and 12, right? Really, that was the big ones. And then you kind of went from there, smaller, like 9 was for the American and smaller companies. And then they had, after that, like some of the role-playing and some other things. They really segmented it in certain ways. So we went there. The first thing we did when we got there was we went to IKEA. And we bought all the tables and chairs that we were going to use, literally thinking that we were going to throw them out at the end of the show because we did not have a logistics company. But it was cheaper to go buy them
Yeah.
set them up, than to rent them from the people who run the Spiel. That's just the way it is with conventions.
Yeah.
At the show, before the end of the show, we met up with a company. I can drop their name. Very nice people called Ataka,
Yes.
a local SC
Yes.
logistics company. And they said, hey, if you ever need logistics, I'm like, can you take these tables and chairs and store them for a year? Yes, we can. We used, to this day, those same tables and chairs are being used. So I think that the new Stronghold Indie Boards and Cards have gotten their money's worth out of that original purchase that we made there. And then we added on to that purchase as well. So very different experience back then in a, I don't remember the size, but I'm going to say 3 meters by 12 meters. Is that like right? So it was a very long,
it could be.
thin booth.
Yeah.
10 feet-ish by
3 meters.
15 feet.
Could be, but that is actually a nice sized booth. And yes, Ataka is still around, and that is a wonderful company for logistics, for storage, and so they are still around. And it must have been really so. Stronghold at that time, because you were pretty new with Stronghold, didn't have a German presence. So you shipped everything from the US over to Germany. Was this easy or customs wise, or how did you manage?
I'm trying to remember now. This is now 13-year-old memories. I'm pretty sure that we sent games to Essen from the US, but we also sent games from China.
Okay.
We needed a customs broker to take care of all of this for us. So I'm trying to remember. Maybe it was it could have been a Taka because we didn't know them yet. But we found some company that was there who would be able to, they do the paperwork for you, and they do the customs clearing, right? You have to have the right codes on there, and German customs is as strict as U.S. customs. They have to be. That's just their job. And if the paperwork isn't right, there are horror stories, especially recent ones, where companies had no games show up, or their biggest game shows up and it's held in customs for random inspection or something crazy like that, or the paperwork was wrong. So we needed to have someone here locally end up doing that final part, and then we had another company bring it and sit it there in our booth. So it was something we had to scramble to make sure we understood how to do it, but it ended up happening fairly easily back then, at least.
Yeah, very good. Very good to know. Yeah, for me, it's the other way around. For me, it's if I attend a US company and selling games, it's not that easy to have everything in place at the right time, right amount, of course. You don't want to sit afterwards on too many games. You don't want to necessarily sell out in the first 2 hours because you bought not enough games. So, and of course, you need some people. At least you should have some local people who know some stuff about it. Yeah.
Right.
But 2010 is a different time.
That's a piece of this equation that we didn't talk about. So, not having a presence in Europe, we had to. I went on to Board Game Geek. I kind of remember this, and I just kind of put out a call. Hey, gamers out in who go into the Spiel in Essen, if anybody would like to demo games at the booth, please let me know and we'll work something out. And we got a nice call of people doing that. If you remember, the industry in general was much smaller.
Yes.
People kind of knew some of the smaller companies that were up and coming because they would be like we were bringing out games that were out of print and highly in demand. So people were starting to watch. Now on one day, Thursday of Essen, of the Spiel, 2,000 plus games are released one day. Back then, you'd get a few hundred games per year over the course of the year that were released worldwide, at least in the like English and extended English-speaking world, Europe and North America. Nobody can keep track these days of all the companies and all the games. So we were fortunate enough to have enough following to get a half a dozen people to be in the booth with us. I think we ran 4 demo tables in that space, plus a sales area, and it worked out pretty well. So.
Yeah. Excellent. So in contrast to this, of course, yeah, Stephen, you are retired. You're not working at Essen. And so what do you expect from this Essen? So from a personal point of view, or more from, because you're doing also together with Ignazi and Corey, you're doing Board Games Insider. So from an industry perspective, how do you see Essen this year?
Yeah, so this Essen will be similar to last year, where I just came as Stephen Bonagor, the civilian, as maybe the Podfather of Gaming. There we go. I just came as myself, and I did a little bit of media coverage, and people seem to like that when you're standing there and you're watching the thousands, tens of thousands of geeks entering the halls right at the beginning, and you're watching them run to the places and stuff like that. So I'll do a little bit of that. I'll do some interviews with designers and people, and generally cover. If I see something really cool, I'll just cover that game. And I like to do it for some of the smaller publishers too, especially to give them hopefully a little more press.
Yeah.
I don't do it like the Dice Tower would do it, or Shut Up and Sit Down. I'm not out there 8 hours doing that. I'm there to have fun. Mm-hmm. I'm specifically in Essen at the Spiel to play games, to have fun, and to see people, see my friends like you, right? See you, see Travis over at Indie Boards and Cards, see Friedemann and Henning at 2F. I just want to hang out and see everybody in the evenings, go get a drink, during the day, play games, hang out with people, and just enjoy myself. And of course, this year, as we just talked about at the beginning of this, is this huge. Do we mention the whole trip I'm doing?
No, but you should, because it's amazing.
It's this crazy. So this huge, crazy 30-day trip that I ended up putting together. I didn't put it together, but Jeff Anderson, who runs Board Game Geek Con, he runs the BGG at sea, and he's now running something called Spiel at sea, which in conjunction with Essen, you could do this. So I'm flying out to Munich. We talked about that. 3 days doing the Oktoberfest. That just was randomly abutting the Spiel. So I got lucky to do that. Fly over to Essen, 5 days there. As a group, we'll take the train to Paris for 3 nights. We'll take a train to London 3 nights, and then a bus to Southampton to do a 15-day cruise back to the United States. It's gonna be pretty epic and pretty fun. Oh, and since Jeff is doing it for himself, but he's going to be there sort of for BGG at the Spiel. He's going to be getting all the BGG games that would be donated, putting them on a pallet, and we're going to be playing those games on the ship on the way back in the conference center. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That sounds really like a lot of fun, and it's an amazing trip for a month. So really
Thank you.
Wonderful, really wonderful. The only thing you will miss is your Corvette, I think, for 30 days.
I haven't driven it since before Vegas. In fact, this morning I just started it, just started it, make sure it's running, the battery's not discharged, that kind of stuff. Shut it off, and I'm not going to see it now for another month. But that's okay. She can wait. She can sit in the garage. She'll be happy there.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So, and Essen, from an industry point of view, do you see a huge change? Of course, to 2010, yes. From last year, or what do you expect?
I think between last year and this year, not so much. But if we talk about when I started, the change in the Spiel itself is unbelievable. And at this point, as anybody who had, I think a lot of your viewers probably are going or have been there, but some of them probably not. It's a tremendous spectacle at this point, and run with German efficiency really well. And it's 10 a.m. you open. Actually, That's the one thing you do. You open 15
Early.
minutes earlier, just to get the crowds going.
Yeah.
10 o'clock open, 7 o'clock it closes, and it's like, get out. You don't got to go back to your hotel, but you can't stay here. And they keep adding. This is the one thing great about the Messe Essen, the convention center in Essen, is that it is so big. It is by far the biggest convention center I have ever seen. And I've been to the Javits Center in New York and the Las Vegas Convention Center. This place is so big, and they keep having room to expand into new halls there. So now they're in halls 1, 2. They've changed the numbering. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or they even?
I think even in 7, but I may be wrong. Wrong.
Because stage, I think.
You mentioned this
people in one of the halls.
Yeah. And you mentioned this at BGI also, that they switched companies around. It's more theme halls now. So Spielworxx has been moved to hall 3 because it's a gamers games hall. Of course, it's somewhat difficult because there's also Pegasus. And you know, Pegasus they have lots of gamers games, but they also have Dorfromantik, which is Game of the Year and is a very light game. So I'm not sure. The feedback will be interesting after the show. What companies think about this?
That is a really good point. This will be the first year in a long time where I won't necessarily know where to go to see companies. That hall 3 was always sort of the largest companies, though they did add some fairly sizable smaller, like Stronghold Indie had a fairly sized booth there in hall 3 for years, though last year they moved out to hall 2. You're going into hall 3 now because they're putting, like you said, the gamer games, heavier, but not necessarily all. Pegasus is very broad. Pegasus spans the whole market. So I don't know. Where did they put like Hasbro and Ravensburger?
I don't know. I don't know where they are, and maybe Ravensburger is able, but this is just a guess, and people may know this much better, that they have several booths. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Dorfromantik, as Game of the Year, will have a separate place somewhere else too. So of course you can purchase it. You probably can play it at the Pegasus booth in hall 3, but I'm sure they have a different spot for this as well. But it's interesting, and I will. What I heard before the show, that wasn't that positive from publishers, because people are used to this company is over there. I go. That is my first thing, and on Thursday morning I'm visiting them. I know where they are. This has changed, and but we'll see. Maybe it's a good thing, and maybe next year people will say wonderful thing that they changed this after all the years. So it will be interesting.
I mean, in general terms, you want to explore all the halls anyway, or you certainly want to explore halls 1, 2, 3, which are, of course, in general, are the main halls. So I bet every company that you want to see, that you absolutely say, I must go to it there. And then, of course, you explore the other ones with some of the smaller companies and some of the companies that are doing things that you like, but they're not like mainstream stuff. I love exploring the old games booths. There's a whole bunch of companies that show up with just older games, and you can get these great bargains, or it'll be like a collectible game that they'll have there for pretty expensive, but like you've never seen the game in 20 years or something like that. So Essen, you have to think, anybody who doesn't know, you got to think of Essen as the biggest exhibitor hall on the planet.
Yes.
Very, very few events, and once it's over, the day is over, get out, go eat, go game in your hotel, come back tomorrow morning. And that's the thing that is really different from, I'm going to say, every other convention. No other convention that I have ever seen in America, in the UK. I've never heard of a convention that does it like this. Start, finish, goodbye, come back tomorrow.
I think I agree 100%. The main difference is it's not a convention, it's a fair. It's
Right.
people are going to buy games. Yeah, they can play them out of here. Maybe come back next day. That's a big difference. But
Yep.
Hans is mentioning in the chat that there's even more Dorfromantik coming. Yeah, it's always if you have a winner in sales at least Dorfromantik. There is Das Duell, which is the duel now coming, even more attention. And
Cool.
so, yeah, more power to them and the two designers of the game, Michael Palm and Lukas Zach. These are wonderful people. These are wonderful people. So I'm really glad that they made it, that they won this big, huge, the largest, the most important prize in the industry, in the hobby. So
It's really great to see when somebody brand new puts a game out and it's a breakout thing. I'll always use like Wolfgang Warsch as that guy from a few years ago. Like no games out, and all of a sudden it was like boom, 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 boom,
yeah.
and he just hit the scene. And he's done really well. So it's wonderful to see somebody brand new break in and do so well in the industry.
Yeah, I agree again 100%. Although here, Michael Palm and Lucas, they are industry veterans actually.
Oh, they are? Okay.
They are, and Michael is also running one of the best game stores in Germany, the Seetal, which is located at Lake Constance in southern Germany, in the city of Constance. So, and he's doing this for decades. So yeah, and he had some published games that were actually very good, but yeah, this of course is different now. So
now he has good commercial success, and that's wonderful for him.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, and Stephen, looking at the time, I know that you are in a hurry. So again, first, thank you to all viewers, to all listeners here. Thank you very much. But Stephen, thank you so much at Fort Lauderdale, or where are you?
Fort Lauderdale Airport. Fort Lauderdale International Airport in the phone booth of the United Airlines Lounge.
So thank you so much for your time today. Give my regards to Paula as well. And see you, safe travels. See you next week then. Okay?
I can't wait to see you. We have an appointment set up. We have a very important business meeting that we still have every year.
Yes.
And there might be some beer involved with that business meeting.
Yeah. Could be. But
Or cheap Prosecco.
Cheap Prosecco and cheap Chardonnay. So that's also there. And Hans is saying thanks too. So thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Uli. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Well, hopefully I'll see you there. If you see me at the show, say hello. We love hearing from everybody. We love it. Give me a hug. Give me a high five. Let's take a selfie.
Yes. Please do so. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.